Okay, so just I'm going to add on a bit more with this information because I keep getting accused of making up stories or lying, but I'm not. So everything I state, I can give you information that you can go reference, or I can give you reference, or I can verify it. I've got documents, I've got recordings, I've got videos, I've got photos to back it up. So every single thing. I even do voiceovers to my photo album. I explain each photo in the album as well, or what I've done in my past. Now, I'm just going to jump back to 2015 when an organization, so I've already held the green card since 2014 after going through the process. If you want background to do with me and why I applied for a green card to America, you can go right back to 2001 when I said I'm going to apply for a green card to America. I'm not going to discuss that in this video because I've already gone through the immigration process. As for immigration, I'm going to make this very clear as well. That's the other thing I investigated. Can immigration be the ones that break confidentiality, privacy, and prying laws? Basically, what I found out from solicitors both in America and in Australia is that the answer to that is no. It's a criminal offence even for government departments to do it, where government departments in the US can be sued depending on the damages that they cause you. So if they cause you pain and suffering, they can be sued for that pain and suffering. You hold a green card, they can't do it. You know, there's a difference between what they can look into. For an example, you got your tax returns and so things like this, make sure that's when you actually go and renew your green card or renew your immigration status, because you're supplying them the information to what someone can actually go and monitor and surveillance somebody. Those laws of prying, confidentiality, privacy, monitoring and surveillance laws exist within government departments, which keeps their hands tied because of what can happen when an individual person, because remember, just because someone works for a government department doesn't mean that they're still, the information that they gather is still based on their own theories, assumptions, projections, and so forth. They're just human. So, to protect the individual person, this is why there's even protections to do with people's health, where doctors can't disclose to somebody else without permission and things like this. So there's a lot to go on with the law with what people who work for organizations believe they can disclose or what they believe they can do. Police are good at this. Police have an understanding that they believe they can do anything they want until they find themselves in court getting sued, which happens a lot in America, and then the local government gets sued as well. That's a good thing because it keeps them real. Keeps them in check. So this is not communist. This is not, Nazism, 20s, whatever, your 1930s, 1940s. We're not in Nazi Germany. You don't have these rights that you believe just because you work for an organization or a government department. Neither do they in Australia. So immigration can't do it. You can't pry into somebody's life. You can't break confidentiality laws. There's verification. So for example, if I'm going for the green card process like I did, you've got your information verified. You have an interview. They check all this. You supply, this is where I went to school. Here's my address I've lived. Here's my addresses that I have lived in the last 20 odd years. You want more documents to prove that, then you need to ask me. Oh, you want me to verify that for? Then I can do this. It goes through, the Department of Foreign Affairs. You've got my study documents. You've got this. So everything checks out. They don't have to do anything further. That checks out, that checks out, that checks out. We've got the information that to go further is breaking law. So I actually did ask in the US and I did ask in Australia. So in America, I was told the same things like, well, if it happens in America, it's criminal. You can take it further. This is how I found out because I was told it happened in Australia, or it was Australia causing the trouble in America. So the attorney I got in America didn't have jurisdiction to resolve it in Australia. Even if it happened to, so even if it happened to immigration, it was immigration from Australia, they don't have the jurisdiction. I'd have to go back and fix it. So I asked all the right questions and checked the law. So basically, no, you can't do it. You cannot break privacy laws, confidentiality, prying laws. No group, no organization. You practically have to be on a terrorist watch list before, an organization can start surveillance and monitoring or anything like this. Now, saying that, I was lied about in 2015. Okay, so let's leave it aside. And an organization did, in fact, do this. I was lied about in 2015. An organisation said we're going to rally around friends and family. I shut it down straight away and said, you were told by me the information you have is not true. You kept saying you don't believe me. That's your prerogative. But I'm telling you myself that what you have twisted an event to seem sinister. You have made stories up about me that isn't true. You said I was suicidal or depressed when I've never been. I told you I have a green card to America. You chose not to believe me. I told you that I've studied design. You said I was delusional. I kid you not, this actually went on. So I have studied design at TAFE College, and I do have a green card to the US. You chose not to believe me. That's your choice. It's a criminal issue now. So it's a matter for me to go to court against this organisation. This was back in 2015. They continued this. They've continued it for 9 years. So instead of just listening to me, they turned around and said, we need to make Sydney feel like America for you. They thought I was some special needs. They thought I was some special needs mentally disabled person. And we're going, I have a green card. I don't need Sydney to be like America. They're like, but you're running away. Oh, you're escapism. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a DV1 holder. I'm a permanent resident of America. I'm slowly packing up to relocate to America. This is how it started. So I'm get the green card to America, and what I'm meant to do is then move permanently to America. So I hope this is where immigration understands that you can't hinder me at the 10-year mark. I have just battled this for almost 10 years because I have tried to continue my studies in design. I've tried to work in my studies in design. This is back just when I finished design studies, and I've had to put up with this. I've tried to return to work at Star Casino as a VIP host, and I was putting up with these organisations. So you can't actually attack me or blame me for any of this. This has been a battle for me for 9 years. I told a specific organisation, even a crisis group, and some acute care group that got wrong information. And I said, but the information you have is incorrect. I'm a green card holder to America. I don't have these issues that you've been told I do. This is a defamation issue. Can you ignore what you're getting told? And they kept saying to me, no, we get information from whoever gives it to us. I'm like, but it relates to me. So if you're getting information from a complete stranger and I'm telling you what that complete stranger told you, is wrong. And even if you've got information from my mother, if my mother doesn't know I've got a green card to America, doesn't that tell you we're not close? We're not close. So can you listen to me again when I say I have studied design. I wanted to go back to my studies after I recovered. I had a bit of a health problem with an immune issue that gave me chronic fatigue. I'm trying to get this fixed. I do hold a DV1 permanent resident status to the US. I have studied design. I want to go back to that so there's not too much of a gap, because at that stage, the last course I did was in 2010 and the last time I did any type of design work was in 2012. So that was 3 years before this conversation. I said, so there's a 3-year gap that I want to close. Now there's a 12-year gap. Do you understand? So, and I said, look, and I need to negotiate my job back. So I was off work at a part salary payment basis after I was mugged. And I'm meant to be continuing this return to work progress, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So I need to continue down with the return to work. I do have my green card and there's my studies, and I'm slowly packing to relocate to America. This is what I was telling this organisation. The organisation didn't believe me. Instead, they have just wasted probably money, government taxpayers' money, funded money, and so forth for 9 years harassing my life. So they started with this, we're going to rally around friends and family. I said, no, you're not, because it's breaking confidentiality and privacy laws. And I've already told you the true information that you don't believe and don't accept. They continued. From that, I have people come into my area of residence where I socialise and so forth, and breaking prying laws. Prying laws is if you deliberately monitoring and surveillance somebody. Or not just that, if you deliberately... So prying laws can be something even simpler than that. Say if you're looking into someone's apartment building and you see them walking around naked and you call the police and say, oh, I've been looking in that guy's apartment, he's naked. The police is meant to arrest you. You're not meant to be looking into someone's apartment. You shouldn't know what someone's doing within their own apartment. That's against the law. You're the one that's breaking the law, not the person. When you're inside your environment, and these laws are good for a reason. It stops people that are what my nana would call Dory Evans, troublemakers of the public. that are deliberately setting their life out to monitor and surveillance somebody. People that have, issues where they think that it's okay to surveillance or spy. So general public people, there is people out there in the public that are deliberate, they're nosy, they're troublemakers. They look like they're community people, but we all know these people. But they're involved in this. They're on the PC. They're so involved. They're a fundraiser. They're this. They're that. Or there could be, but they're just really not good community people, because what they're doing, they're just, trying to pry or so for other people's lives. We know these types of people. There's that. There's also other types of people where there's criminals, there's drug dealers that were trying, there's all this, pushing. There's all sorts of reasons why these laws are good. I'm not saying this is what was happening with me, but I'm saying that these are the reasons why those laws are good. There's people that don't know how to live in a city because they want to focus on other people's lives in the city instead of just living their life and ignoring what's going on in their neighbouring building. So those people, I look at them and think, you really should be living in a country town or suburbia, because you are too focused on what's happening in your neighbouring apartment. Where myself, I don't. I've always lived in the city, and it's like, I don't care. I don't even want to know my neighbours. I'm so used to city life where I'm not used to a community. And I won't ever. And I don't believe this study that they do, and there's so much done that community, and it's a big thing now with these millennials where it's your clan and this bullshit, and it seems so UK as well. And the problem with this is, where I've said to people from England, it's like, England fits in the state that I come from in Australia, the state of New South Wales, which is not our largest state, and England fits in it almost 4 times. You come from a small country and you're just projecting things. So in a very tiny country that you are, England, a very tiny country, it's easy to be sort of in little groups in this country because you're so small. You're such a small country. But it is not healthy to be grouped and categorized into communities and clans. It is not a good, healthy way. And when people say they've done these studies and research on it, it's like, no, there isn't. Your research is for what you want to direct it into. So there's a lot of people that, universities and so forth, they say, but the research says, it's like, I think the rest of the world isn't that stupid, where we know that your research is going to fit your narrative and agenda. So whichever you believe, that's where your research is going to come out as. So I think, we know enough in the world now. We've come so far to see that research throughout history has always been the projection of the group of people who want to push their narrative and agenda. How Hitler of these people. How very Hitler of them. So the research and the finding, the research and the studies, it's like, is going to support your narrative and agenda. Of course it is. Because you're pushing that. So the research is not true. It's not facts. It's pushing one's own narrative and agenda. How very Hitler of you. Because if we look throughout history, the research has always matched the person, group, or organization pushing that narrative and agenda. Because Hitler was right. How Hitler of you. People that want to create communities and clans and groups and bubbles. Because that's what you want. So there's a group out there, especially when it comes to the leftist woke universities. So you're going to make the research support what you want. So easily done. So the research, of course, is going to support what your agenda is. Of course it is. The studies and the research, yes, the studies and the research is going to support your own narrative and agenda. Of course it is. But we're not sheep. I really hope the majority of the world isn't sheep. So of course it is. How very Hitler of you. Let me get back to what I was actually initially talking about. So it's organization. This is how this started. They've gone off to go and find out who I'm related to or who I'm friends with. This is how the information came back. So my mother would have had to have given him information, of course. And they're like, oh, concerned mother. No, we've never been close. Mum wouldn't know any of my friends. She's my biological mother, that's it. And instead what she did was, instead of saying, well, ask Justin, and they would have got the same response from me, saying you're not going to break confidentiality and privacy. And prying laws, this is a criminal matter. Your organisation needs to be held accountable as you're breaking the law. Police should be arresting you, and police really need to have a good hard look at the laws because they don't know it. They're so stupid. Now, so instead, and like I said, immigration can't do this. You believe you can, but you can't. The law's there. If it all went in front of a magistrate, it's, you've broken how many laws, and there's pain and suffering attached to that. So, government departments can't do it. These organisations believe that they're above government departments and so forth. You're not. Now, setting out. So why not ask, like for example, friends that I've known for 20 years in Sydney, and they wouldn't know that much about me because I keep different parts separate. You've got your work colleagues, you've got your friends that you go, out for drinks with, you've got your other sort of group of friends that you meet for coffee, you've got your family members on your dad's side, like I do, that are my friends, my cousins on my dad's side, which my own twin sister doesn't even know because we've had separate lives. My twin sister's kept under a bubble created by our mother and my mother's sisters. So there's family members that I know that are my cousins that my twin sister had. Like, there's photos where I was with my cousin Christy Saruni, which is my dad's younger sister Linda, Aunt Linda, her daughter, and Amanda's going, oh, how is that our cousin? I'm like, our first cousin Christy Saruni, who I've known for years and hung out with, that's Aunt Linda's daughter, Amanda. And she's like, oh, I don't know any of these people. I'm like, no, because you were raised by mum, basically. Because you were kept under mum and mum's sister's bubble. Whatever they feed you, you're left in the dark like a mushroom and fed shit. That's Amanda. And she has no idea who she's related to. She doesn't know anything except her controlled environment. Do you see what these little organisations want to do? They want to create little Amandas of the world. Keep them dumb. Keep them controlled environment, keep them community, keep them in a little clan. Oh, don't look behind the curtain. That's what these studies, have done. Yeah, they're little, but we've got studies, we've done research. Our research that proves this is healthy. No, it's not. Your research is trying to create people to be stupid, to not know anything outside this little clan of people. Now, someone like myself that's seen this already in my own family knows that it's not healthy. My own twin sister doesn't even know who she's related to. No idea. She doesn't know anything outside of her little bubble. It's a bubble, which is what the research thinks is healthy. You UK losers. Yes, keep people dumb, in a bubble, controlled. That's your research. Keep them in a little clan, a little community, controlled environment, controlled bubble. Yeah, no, I don't live like that. I live in big cities where there is, people that aren't sheep. Thank you very much. So, what my mother did, she grabbed hold of it. And she started telling people, so she started involving people from my high school. People from my high school, there's one person, I think she went to my school for about, she gone there for 2 years. I know she started in year 9, I think, or the end of year 8. So Tara Swain. My mum's like, she's a really good friend of Justin's. I'm like, I knew of her for 2 years. And mum's like, you invited her to a party here. It's like, and? There's been plenty of people at parties we don't know. There's been plenty of people at weddings we don't know. And God, we've brought strangers to our own siblings' weddings, complete strangers. We're like, God, got my sister's wedding to go to. I've got to find someone to bring along with it. So it doesn't mean anything. And Tara Swain, I think she used to go to Carrossie, and then she moved to Lady Rosebery College, but I think she only went there in year 9 and 10. We don't really know each other. And again, my mother's bringing in people into my life that haven't seen me since 1995 and weren't really good friends. And this is where there was information related to my mother's stepson ex-stepson, sorry. So her second husband, my stepfather, his son from his first marriage, Daniel Brackley, where there was information that was related to my mum's nephew, her sister Robin Child's son, Shane Childs. Information from other people that wasn't even anything to do with me, that people thought was me, like Justin Pascoe or Darren Taylor. That's how this got projected into my life, because my mother kept involving these people into this organisation that was rallying around friends and family, breaking confidentiality and privacy and prying laws, trying to find out information about me and who I was as a person. So this matter is a criminal matter. No, it's more than criminal. It's gone on for 9 years. It's, you could almost say it's financially disadvantaged me, so there's fraud in it. Well, you've got compensation of loss of salary to be owed to me as well, but you've also got the pain and suffering. Yeah, the damages to my credibility. It's tarnished my reputation. It's defamation, discrimination towards me. It has financially damaged me and my life. Future damages as well, and pain and suffering. And it's going on to date. My mother even used those lies to actually break these laws, of practically bugging me. You're monitoring surveillance in somebody. Yeah, these are criminal aspects. So you're using lie to break the law, and police are standing back like the, third rank Nazi soldiers and letting it happen. It's like, I'm sorry, this is not communist Germany. This is not Nazi Germany. We have rights and laws. And right now, if this was in the US, you would already be in court for it, because it's a lot easier to get something to move in front of a judge there. And we're in Australia. Australia's a shit country. Sorry, this is what the problem with Australia still being under the Commonwealth is. It's just terrible. So this is not, you can't do the behaviour that's been done to me. But it has. And I'm sitting back where it's like, oh, well, you're not working. It's like, you've just caused me health problems I didn't have before 2015. And what they've turned around to try and say is, oh, but you're mugged after work. I'm like, I was mugged after work, that's right. But I had maintained those health conditions and injuries to the point where I was moving forward and progressing in my return to work. So I could have returned to my job until you started the trouble in 2015. Then you actually cause other health damages to me. So much so after 2015 that in May 2016, I got pneumonia. These organisations caused so much damage that my immune system got so weak, and I got so sick from their harassment and stalking and privacy invasion and breaking the confidentiality and prying laws, that I actually got pneumonia in 2016. So then from pneumonia, it's like I never picked up. In 2017, I then asked to be left alone because I hadn't recovered from the pneumonia. My immune system was shot, and I was getting really bad chronic fatigue in 2017. And then I got further harassment. So this continued. So I had pneumonia in May 2016 I haven't recovered from. So that's what I say. Well, the health conditions I have now, I didn't have back when I was getting the green card to America. And of course I didn't. You just caused these since 2015. You, as the women that caused them, who work for certain disability carers, some other support, social workers type thing, that have broken these laws because you got information that you were basically lied to about me, and you were told by me. You were told by me that you've been lied to about me. And that's it. You should have accepted it. You didn't accept it, and you continued, and it caused and cost me so much damages. But then you're still turning it back onto me and saying, oh, you're not doing anything. It's like, this is a criminal matter. This is a matter for a magistrate where your organisation needs to be charged. You need to be shut down. You should be forced pay for the last 9 years of damages it's caused me in 2 countries, plus future pain and suffering. And that's where we're at. I've just had you break privacy and confidentiality laws to begin with, after defamation discrimination. So you don't get the entitlement of hiding behind organisations like you were doing to say, oh, but I work for this organisation, I can do this. You can't. The laws are there. You can't. And whether a magistrate in Australia wants to take it or not, or accept it or not, or even police want to accept it or not, it's beside the point. You're breaking the law. If I retaliate because of this criminal behaviour towards me, then my retaliation is justified because you've broken the law into my life and I'm retaliating towards it. Look, so much so that my mother told people that I was a drug user and had drug dealers. From that, I had drug dealers was sitting around my building where I resided. And not only that, my mother dragged people who were known drug users and ice users into my life to be my friend. That's how sick she really is. And she did. So there was all this stuff going, oh, but I'm so concerned. I just want to be happy. And it's like, so, because she's a bit sick in the head because of her second husband. Her second husband's family were drug users. That's why. So I'm not. Her stepson was. Her second husband, who's my ex-stepfather, Mark Rackley, was an alcoholic with issues to do with cannabis and I would say heavier drugs as well. Well, it was known that he was with heavier drugs, acid and whatever crap he was on. His son, Daniel Rackley, is with ice, cannabis and alcoholism. They all have had suicide attempts and so forth. So then my mother told people that that was me, which it wasn't. It's her second husband and his son. So then I had people with those same issues come into my area of residence and harass me, sit there, pry, come try to be friends with me. So, the little groups, little clans of drug dealers and drug users all being together, the little bubble group, that's criminal. So this is where all these organisations have just committed. It's a criminal offence. They should be. Look, I can't wait for a change of government. It feels too left to have let this go on. So Anthony Albanese should be getting out. If he can't go and arrest people, like as a Prime Minister to Australia, if he hasn't got the balls to set up a system to say, well, okay, even if I talk to my local government and say this just happened to me, this is criminal, your government should be going and arresting these people. Arrest them for prying, for starters. Then you can get them for the drug use and drug laws and so forth. They should be serving years in jail. And they should be serving years in jail. Like, this is insane behaviour. This is where the left, the insanity of wokeism, communist, equality, which I don't believe in equality. I didn't even vote for equality. I would never vote for equality. I even said in Australia when they were saying, oh, equality is for same-sex marriage, I said, no, it's not. I won't vote for equality. I'm going to vote no, and I did vote no. I will vote for same-sex marriage. I won't vote for equality. Equality is a very slippery slope. It's the cousin of Nazism. It's, it's the counterpart of communist and socialism. It's a blanket on the Nazism. Equality is not good. It sounds good. You put a spin on it, this happy sort of, oh, equality, oh, sunshine, lollipop bullshit. Equality is disgusting. It is communist. It is something that you do not want in the world. Equity, not equality. There's a massive difference. Equality is Nazism. People need to stop being a sheep. Wake up, So I really do hope that Republicans get into America to stop all these criminal behaviour, and we need somebody like John Howard back in Australia, because Anthony Albanese obviously can't do his job, and I can be a spokesperson. The fact that he can't do his job, look what's just happened to me. These people should be arrested for the last 9 years. Okay, I know Anthony Albanese wasn't in power for that time, but in the last 9 years, there's been a massive, huge pull from the left of wokeism around the world, in America and in Australia. It seems that the strings, who was pulling the strings and controlling, was this communist regime of equality, socialism, communism behaviour in the world. So, not good. Oh, and without losing focus on this, I am the victim of deliberate prying, confidentiality, privacy laws broken, monitoring and surveillance. Now, that is compensatable, and that will be paid in 2 countries towards me, whether people like it or not. I'm not backing down. You damaged my life. The only way to fix this is a legal matter as a criminal case.